It was a quiet afternoon in early autumn. The golden sunlight stretched lazily across the narrow street as Sarah, a 15-year-old girl with bright eyes and a heavy school bag, walked home from school. The world seemed peaceful, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the soft hum of the wind filled the air. But as she turned into a quieter lane, something inside her shifted. At first, she didn't notice him. A tall man stood at the far end of the street, his hands buried deep in his pockets, his eyes fixed on her. Sarah slowed her pace, her heart fluttering uncertainly. Maybe he's just walking the same way, she thought, trying to calm herself. But when she quickened her steps, he did the same. When she crossed the street, so did he. A chill crept down her spine. The once safe street now felt like a trap, each echo of her footsteps amplified by fear. There were no cars, no people, just her and the stranger. When she glanced back again, he was closer. Too close. Panic surged through her. She began to walk faster, then faster still, until her brisk walk turned into a run. Her bag bounced against her back as she ran, her breath coming in ragged gasps. But the man was faster. His footsteps thundered behind her, closing the distance with terrifying speed. Before she could scream, his hand clamped around her arm. Sarah froze, terror coursing through her veins. "Let me go," she cried, trying to twist free. He didn't speak. His face was expressionless, cold as stone. He grabbed her phone, the only thing she could use to call for help. She clung to it desperately, her knuckles white, but he was stronger. With a sharp tug, he tore it from her grasp. "Please," she begged, trembling. "Take it, just don't hurt me." But he wasn't finished. His greedy eyes darted to her earrings, small silver stars that glimmered faintly in the dying sunlight. Before she could move, he ripped one from her ear. Pain seared through her, and she screamed. Blood trickled down her neck, but he didn't flinch. He reached into her pocket, snatched her purse, and turned away as if she were nothing, as if her fear meant nothing. He disappeared into the shadows at the end of the street, leaving her trembling, bleeding, and alone. For a long moment, Sarah couldn't move. The world was silent except for her shaky breathing. Then, her legs gave way beneath her. Tears blurred her vision as she stumbled forward, running blindly toward home, the only place she felt safe. When she burst through the front door, her mother gasped in horror. "Sarah! What happened to you?" Sarah couldn't speak at first. She collapsed into her mother's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Her mother held her tightly, stroking her hair until she could whisper the words, broken, trembling words, about the man, the chase, the pain. Without a moment's hesitation, her mother took her to the police station. An officer sat her down gently and began asking questions. What did he look like? How tall was he? What was he wearing? Sarah tried to remember, but fear had blurred everything into shadows. Still, she recalled his dark coat, the roughness of his voice when he grunted, the scar above his brow. The officer wrote everything down carefully and promised they would find him. 3 long days passed. Sarah barely slept. Every sound outside her window made her flinch. Every face on the street seemed suspicious. Her world, once bright and simple, now felt cold and unsafe. Then one morning, the phone rang. It was the police. They had caught him. Her phone and purse were found among other stolen belongings. The man had done the same thing to several others, but now he would face justice. Sarah and her mother sat silently for a while after the call. Justice had been served, but something deeper had been taken from her, her sense of security, her childhood innocence. Weeks later, when she walked home again, she took the longer route, the one filled with noise, people, and light. The fear still lingered, but she walked with her head held high, determined not to let the darkness win. And though she never forgot that terrifying evening, it became the moment that taught her courage, the courage to face her fears, to speak out, and to rebuild her strength. Sarah had been a victim that day, but she would not remain one. She became stronger, wiser, and more watchful, a survivor in a world that could sometimes be cruel, yet still full of hope.